have the M4 Tech 1 installed. Call us. Give it. Woo! This sounds ridiculous! Welcome back to another episode on Proven Power Cycles. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Eric. We got Lewis over there, and Daryl's off for the day. So it's just us two today. Anyway, we have a brand new 2024 ZX-10R on the roller right now. What we're gonna do today to this bike, we're gonna swap the exhaust out. It's not gonna get a full system because these headers are actually very, very stout on these bikes. So the stock headers are. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna throw on an M4 slip-on that removes the cat and the muffler and some of the other jazz. So we're gonna throw an M4 slip-on on. We have a Sprint P08 air filter we're gonna throw in there, as well as the block-off plates. This customer, he doesn't like the backfiring, he doesn't like any of that stuff, so we're gonna do the plates, and that way he's also got a nice clean burn in the motor, and it should tune very, very well today. So we're gonna baseline it right now. It's 100% stock chain and sprocket, stock exhaust, stock air filter, stock. So we're gonna baseline it right now and go from there. Here we go. So we got the fuel tank all off. We have to take the outside part of this airbox all out, which, as you can see, there are quite a few connectors, some hoses, some lines that we need to remove in order to get this all apart. After that, air filter comes out. Then we can remove the box itself, which are held in, or which the lower component is held in. Let's see if I can get it here on film. So there's a silver kind of tube, if you will, like it's a spacer. Okay, there, you can kind of see it up here where my pinky is. There's that silver, basically it's a spacer, and there's a bolt that runs through it. There's two of them. On this side there's one, and on that side there's one. So we have to take those off or loosen them in order to get the lower part of the airbox, as well as there is a spot up here underneath the stabilizer. There's a spot underneath that stabilizer, and underneath that stabilizer is another bolt. We take that off, and that's what enables us to get it off. Now, Lewis owns one of these bikes, so he pretty much knows this like the back of his hand. So whenever you pull this line off, it's gonna piss out fuel just like that. Actually, that wasn't even that bad.
No, it wasn't.
Normally, it's a lot more. Oh, there, there it is. Here's the OEM filter, and I know a lot of you guys already know what it looks like, but normally these they have this grate on it. You see how you guys can kind of see it, this metal shine to it. This is the OEM air filter here, but they have this, it's screen, it's like a metal screen. So usually what we do, we usually remove that metal screen to kind of help OEM air filters flow a lot better. If people don't want to get like a Sprint or an aftermarket filter, we'll modify the stock ones. But I'm gonna let Lewis go to town on it. We are
there's a lot of people won't tell you this when they do their how-to videos. One thing that'll help you get this airbox off: a ballpoint Allen head, and a long one.
Yes, a long ball. So that is it's a rounded Allen. Yeah, it's a 5mm Allen. So we use a ball end. It makes life a lot easier. This is a little tidbit for you guys, a little tip. It will help immensely get that airbox off. Otherwise, you are using little 90s and stuff. It's a pain in the ass if you use another type of tool for the most part. I am sure some of you guys have some other method out there. For those of you who are doing this or who have done it, maybe you could throw down your suggestion down below and help someone else out in the future and put down your suggestion. Maybe you might have a better way that's really easy to you. Why don't you comment down below and tell us what that is to help take off these airboxes, because obviously they're not a super simple procedure. It's a little bit more in depth versus some of the other guys out there, like a Suzuki airbox or something. So don't over tighten them. It's easy to over tighten them. It's easy to over torque them. You don't have to go crazy when you're tightening it, okay? Lewis pulled the valve already, but it's really not a big deal. There's a little solenoid that sits up here, and then there's 2 hoses that go into there. Ta-da! So it kind of sits like that, right? So this, we pull the sensor off that, and then, by the way, this right here, real quick, Lewis. So this right here goes back to your airbox, okay? So what this does is this takes fresh air from the airbox and injects it into your exhaust system to help bleed out all the hydrocarbons that you get for emissions purposes. So between that and the catalytic converter, it soaks up all the hydrocarbons so that the exhaust fumes, if you will, does not get to open atmosphere, which is therefore harmful to the environment. So what we're doing now is we're basically, it's not necessarily, I don't want to say it's like not good, because they say it burns up your valves. What it does is it adds fresh oxygen, which creates a little extra heat. You know, it would be interesting to actually test that. Now thinking about it, how much extra heat does it apply? But that's kind of the theory or the concept behind it. So a lot of times we'll do block off plates, or on some of the newer bikes I can physically turn off the power system in the ECU. But like I always tell everyone, I'm like, you know, if you do the block off plates, you're still eliminating it, you still get better flow, and there's no diversion, if you will, in the airbox for air to escape to, because you're physically putting a plug on there to plug it off. So it kind of helps with that in that regard. Those 2 plates that you saw on top, those 2 silver plates, Lewis is going to take those off, and then we're going to install the actual block off plates, which is this. So we're doing the Brox block off plates. It comes with the 2 block offs. Now some of this stuff you're going to use for the ZX-10R platform. So because these block offs, they actually work for a couple of different bikes. They work for the ZX-10R, the ZH2, the H2SX, the H2, the ZX-10R. So whenever he finishes this, we're going to throw the lower part of the airbox back on, throw in the Sprint air filter, and close it all back up, and then we're going to start working on the exhaust system, getting the M4 installed, and then we're going to re-baseline the bike and then do the fun stuff, which is the tuning and making power and all the noises, all the stuff we're loved for by the locals. Right here, the block off plates, guys, they go right here in the front, boom and boom. We are fully installed. And the other thing we're going to do while we're in here, we're going to unplug his O2 sensor, which is right here. Boop. So this is the O2 sensor plug here. We're gonna leave it unplugged for the dyno session because we don't want any backfeeding or any interference with the tune whatsoever. So we're gonna unplug that. We have those blocked off. So he's gonna have a check engine light or multiple check engine lights because we're moving these sensors out. So keep that in your mind when we do shoot this. We'll show you guys. It's nothing to be kind of worried about. A lot of people call me and they're like, oh my God, I got a check engine ever since I did this exhaust. I'm like, well, you know, it's the servo or the O2 sensor, whatever that you removed, it's tripping for that. We have the M4 Tech 1 installed. For the most part, we got Lewis is patching up the lower fairing now and getting that all assembled. And then we're gonna wipe this down here, this pipe, clean that up, clean off the muffler a little bit, get it all nice and you know, just again looking new and without any smudges on it. And then we're gonna throw the tank back on, get the bike all fired back up, re-baseline this thing, and then go through the tuning process. So I think it looks pretty sharp. I'm really liking the Tech 1. I don't know, I think it looks pretty good. I think once it starts to burn in, and I think the sound's gonna sound great. I'm really curious to see what this thing lays out with this Tech 1. Let's give her a fire, let's see what happens. So just like what we were talking about, the check engine light is in fact on. Yeah, that sounds real clean. Very, very clean sound. I love it. All right, let me hop on this thing and do some more bass lines. finally got that 2024 ZX-10 all wrapped up, and it made pretty damn good power considering the weather conditions that we're dealing with right now here in Florida. It did pretty good. So let's go over the numbers real quick. We'll kind of do a high level overview on them real quick for you guys, all right? He baselined at 160 wheel horsepower with 72 foot-pounds of torque, and if you look, got a pretty lean air-fuel mixture down low, does okay in the mid-range, so it gets pretty pig-rich down here at the top end, and obviously you see the throttle blades closing, it shuts down. This is the typical ZX-10 2024. Any of the newer stuff, you know, they all fall on their face up top. So we installed the full M4, or the, I'm sorry, not the full M4, we installed the M4 slip-on exhaust and decided to baseline it again. This is with the Sprint P08 air filter. So we did 165 and 76 pound-foot of torque. So it did pick up quite a bit in the mid-range and everything just from being able to breathe a little bit better. But look what happened to our air-fuel ratio. We leaned way out throughout almost the whole RPM range, all the way up until about 8,300 RPM or so. And then it got lean again, very lean again, all the way up until about 10,000 RPM. Then it got lean again. This is still pretty lean dealing with the higher RPM. This is still dealing with a leaner AFR than what I want. And then again, goes pig rich, dives off, same thing. Throttle blades shut down, everything shuts off. But all in all, we still picked up a good amount of power considering there was no tuning involved. Now, obviously with the flash, you know, we de-restrict the bike and then we let her eat. Here's what we ended with the finals. Overall, much cleaner AFRs. We're gonna get these little bumps here and there, guys. That honestly, it's fiber optic cable. We're also jumping across different throttle positions, so you're gonna get these little tiny waves. These are all interpolations done by the ECU in between each part. So you're gonna get things like this here and there with the tune, especially on these newer dyno jet dynos. They're very, very sensitive, so they'll pick up everything. But all in all, we have a nice clean air fuel compared to what it was. It's nice and clean, it's all along that dotted line, damn near it. And now look at the overall power curve. The overall power curve, we jumped up tremendously over how he came in, obviously. But even over the M4 exhaust, you know, we're still picking up 4 or 5 wheel horsepower throughout the mid-range. And then obviously up top, everyone's favorite, you know, when we start looking at the numbers up here, you're talking about a 32 wheel horsepower difference at 13,000 RPM. Pretty freaking massive. So all in all, we ended at 188, almost 189. I would have liked to have seen about 190, but our conditions were pretty crappy. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, we were dealing with 92 degree weather. Actually, humidity's not bad, but we still had a 4% correction factor, which is still telling me that it was pretty crappy outside, all in all. So considering we're having that much of a correction going on, that tells me the weather was pretty crap. But all in all, guys, this is still a ton of power. For those of you who've seen other videos, even some of the ones that we've dealt with, the other 1000s, you know, they're in the 160s, 170s, mid 180s. You know, the Gixxer 1000 platform is around this same number. So all in all, it's still healthy. It's still doing great. You know, and these are still solid numbers. And we have a nice smooth curve all the way to the top. It's nice and smooth. It looks good. It's nice and clean. And he is a street bike rider. He's not like a track going guy, you know. He just wanted something fun for the street, something smooth, something that had a little pep in its step. So, and that's what, I know. It was like, you know what it reminded me of? So I got to show. So I gotta show Daryl. So he's packaging up an exhaust system to ship out. It reminded me of like someone just like ripping one in like a meeting, you know. You know, it's so loud. All in all, guys, he should be good to go. He should have a fun time with this bike. So I almost fell off the dyno. So anyway, but thank you guys again. Thank you for viewing this this video. Leave us some feedback down below. Tell us what you think about the new ZX-10Rs. Curious to see what you guys have to think about them or say about them. Tell us what you'd like to see us perform on the new ZX-10s. We've done a few with like Airbox mods and flapper mods and stuff, but you know, the channel is growing traction, so it'd be kind of cool to do some more of these with we do quite a few of these, honestly, but as the time goes on, we're gonna get more and more that come in here, and we'll be doing more and more mods. So we started building custom fuel lines for the ZX-10. They look pretty good. They were on your bike, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we did a set on Lewis's bike, kind of like a little prototype set. So I don't know, whoever has owned ZX-10s, you kind of know, or you should know, that it's a little bit of a common issue that as you raise and lower the tank, if you do it multiple times, the fuel lines tend to kink. They'll get a little kinked up, and then once you get a kink in that line, it's over. You got to replace it. So with the upgraded fuel lines, they're stainless steel, they're braided nylons, they're AN lines, they're badass. They're literally like top of the line lines, and you could run ethanol, methanol, you could run whatever you want kind of fuel through that line and it'll take it. So they're really good lines, but we can offer that kit. I don't know what we're charging for it. We'll call it. Give us a shout. We'll quote you guys out if you guys are interested. So we do have a fix for that, and we're running it on Lewis's bike currently. So, but we do have a fix for those kink fuel lines. So give us a shout if you guys are interested. Also, we have released our website. Go ahead and check it out. Please go ahead and check it out. It's a cool little website. It's gonna keep growing. We're gonna keep adding to it. Thank you for the support. We love you guys. Like, follow, comment, all the things. Peace.